Hey guys. So in this project that I'm working on, this web series, it's really the main focus of it is to understand the um, the voice analyzer or the voice API in the browser. Now, I am on a sort of what you would call a side. I've gone on a side route. I've gone off route completely. And what I've learned just in the last couple of videos is that I don't really understand routing very well. I thought I understood routing, and I think it's kind of an example of where you learn something from the problem and work your way up. And so then because of that, you get this illusion that you understand the concept. So like because I know how to do something with something, I think I understand the something. So like I think I understand farming because I know how to grow tomatoes. Something like that. But it looks like farming is a much larger concept. And I thought since I knew how to set up routes inside of a configuration, that I understood routing. But what I'm really starting to understand is that I don't understand routing. Routing is a much bigger topic, and so since this speech recognition API is a very um, unstable technology at this point, um, I don't feel any big reason to excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. I don't see any reason to spend a bunch of time or to hurry through learning that. And since routing is really something that is very important in Angular, it makes sense, I think, to take this little detour. Um, so basically, what I have set up now, and it's kind of easy to look because I haven't checked things in. Um, so I have these router links. So router links is what historically was called a directive. I think in the last year, Angular team has kind of changed that vocabulary a little bit, and now they're calling it a directive component. But basically, this is a directive that you can apply to an anchor, and it will somehow communicate stuff to the application. And that stuff is what I want to dig into today. Um, so that's what this is. So in our app component, I added a little padding just so we get this spacing here. And then in the TypeScript, I imported all of the components that we were using: API component, continuous component, logs component, and discrete component. So that I just import those so that we can use them, and that's really all I'm doing. And then, and I don't even know. I don't even know. Actually, all I did was import the router module. Actually, I stopped importing the discrete component because I didn't need it. So all I'm doing, or it looks like I added that. Did I? Here, let's go look. Line 19. Okay, so I have the discrete component. I don't think we need that component in here anymore. So let's delete it. See if I understand properly. So basically I used to render the discrete component in the app, but I don't render it in there anymore. I don't think so. I believe if I delete that, yeah, I end up without any problems, and that's because I used to have the discrete component here, but now I have that. So you can see I used to have it there, and now I don't have it anymore. Okay, so the routes I added all my route API, all my components in there, and then I have added a console log. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, so I don't want this to be a super long video, so I'm going to try to get through the whole point. So see, this discrete component is like this. So, and then let me look at okay, so I don't have any changes in the API component. So what I'm trying to demonstrate today, or actually more than demonstrate, what I'm trying to lock into my understanding today is this API indicator situation. So the API indicator I'm going to, in the constructor, I think I'm literally had just done this video. I'm going to do a console log. Okay. API in constructor. And then I'm going to add a lifecycle hook called onDestroy. So I tell it implements and then onDestroy. And so when this happens, sometimes it'll automatically pull in onDestroy, and that's what happened up there. And then it'll be upset because this is telling it that you're going to implement a function called onDestroy. Now, when you see a blue thing like that, usually it's telling you, it being Visual Studio Code, that it can help you fix this. And basically it's saying, hey, would you like me to implement onDestroy? I'm going to click that button, and there it is. And then console.log API indicator destroyed. All right, so we're almost there. Okay, so now I'm going to, I believe what happens is if I come in here, I delete this, and then hit that. See, I get my API indicator. I also get my discrete component that is now functioning. Okay, so if I go here and I do this, I go, oh, I'm going to go to the API instead. Directly up here in the address bar. So you notice I get the construct, these two get built again. But if I use the link instead, I don't get it. So just to be clear, I went to the API, manually entered the API into the URL, and I do not get new API constructors. So this is not destroyed. This is left alone. But do not get it. But if I type it in manually, I get a complete refresh of the whole thing and the API. So that is what you get. Okay, this is what you get. You get for using the directive. Right? So in the app, when you use the router link directive, it's somehow communicating behind the scenes to go in, change this URL, but don't really. Just change it so that the user sees it and then load things up based on the configuration. So when Angular looks through there, it says, okay, this isn't part of the router link, so don't change this. This is part of the router link, so change it. Right? So that's what you get that. So a lot of times when I've worked at places, what you'll get is a junior developer will come in and they'll go like this. They'll use like basic HTML, and they'll be like, hey, this works exactly the same. Let me hit back. So we're at discrete. They're like, this works exactly the same. I come over here and this is fine. Why do I want this one instead? And the thing is they don't necessarily notice that, oh, the whole page reloads when you use this thing. You get an entire page redraw, but when you use this one, these stay the same. This URL just changes, and this API works just fine. So that is the sort of the real important concept to understand with routing. And I know I've looked at plenty of PRs from junior developers where people who are new, and they're like, they do it this way, and then they do it this way, and they don't understand why you want them to do it this way. And when I would say, hey, can you use the router link directive instead, please use the router link directive instead. And I didn't really understand why, and now I do. And that was the important thing. Okay, so the next video, this is already too long. I guarantee it. I don't even know how long it is. Oh, so it's 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So the next thing that I want to do, and I'm not going to be able to do it in this video because I don't want to create another 30-minute video uh, because I've been doing that nonstop and all that is I know that routing is a more of a suite of technologies. So we know that I've demonstrated that it is a way to do configuration so that different components load for different URLs, but it's also a directive called router link that communicates to the system that only to update the stuff in the inside the router outlet and in the address. But I also know, and I used to think it was just literally an hour ago, I thought it was just a service or maybe two services as well that do certain things for you. So I said, what services are part of routing in Angular to ChatGPT? And it says, in Angular, routing is a fundamental feature that enables navigation between different views or components within the application. Several services and tools are integral to routing in Angular. And I am just dumbfounded that there's 9 of them. There's 9 of these things that are used. The next one that I really want to dig into and understand next Saturday is this location service. Because this service is very, very important for my goal. And my goal is to have a router that moves in the address and is a set of tabs that you can control and has components with it that do not get destroyed and reloaded every single time, and mostly because I don't want the logs to get destroyed and reloaded as you go to them. So I know that I've never seen that well implemented, and I've worked in really, really like household name type of places, and I've never seen that well implemented. So I would like to implement that well. My question is this location service. I don't know what its scope is, because I know that you can have routing within routing within routing within routing. And does the location service know all of them? Does it only know about the routing information for a router outlet component that it's inside of, but like not the child ones, and not so yeah. So my question is like, inside of the top up here, can I know what can this location know what this route is, and then communicate that so that my tabs will know which tab to show on that. And that is for next week. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.